In this video, I'm going to express my love and appreciation of the character Iroh from the show Avatar: The Last Airbender. And in order to do that, I'm gonna have to tell you a little bit about me. What I want to highlight here is the idea of fatherhood. Fatherhood is something that means a lot to me. The idea of being a guiding light for the younger generation. The idea that at a younger age you have a father or father figure, someone you can look to for wisdom, advice, and understanding. When I was a young boy, I lost my grandfather. He was the person I viewed as a father figure, and in many ways he was my father. He did a lot for me. And even though I was only 9 years old when he passed away, he instilled a lot of wisdom and understanding in me. But in many ways throughout my life, I have lacked a strong father figure. And this is where a lot of comic books and TV shows come in. Fictional characters are my father. A lot of the wisdom and guidance and understanding that most people get from their father, I got from fictional characters. And one of those who is quite meaningful to me is Iroh. He has so many quotables. He's always giving advice to every character he encounters, and I always looked up to him. But then there's an episode called, and believe me when I tell you, this episode changed my life at two separate points in my life. The first life-changing experience with this episode was the first time I saw it when it first aired. I watched this extremely loving and wise man, Uncle Iroh, go about his day in the capital city of the Earth Kingdom, Ba Sing Se. Something to note is that during this time in the story, Ba Sing Se and the Earth Kingdom as a whole kind of hate firebenders and would definitely arrest someone like Iroh, who is a member of the Fire Nation's royal family. So he's in enemy territory, he's going about his day, and he's just the most lovable guy. And what you may notice if you watch the episode is that he gives 3 sets of advice to young men of 3 separate age groups. He sings a loving tune to a young crying child. He teaches a group of young reckless boys about owning up to your mistakes and attempting to restore your honor. And he tells a young man that he believes in him and that he thinks he can follow his passion no matter where he's at in life. Even after the way he's introduced to this young man being an attempted mugging. At the end of the episode, Iroh walks up to a tree on a hill, and he lights candles in memory of his late son, whose life was taken on the front lines of the Great War. Iroh kneels down next to the tree and mournfully says,
"Happy birthday, my son. If only I could have helped you. Leaves from the vine, falling so slow, like fragile tiny shells drifting in the foam. Little soldier boy, come marching home. Brave soldier boy comes marching home."
And let me tell you, that is one of the most bone-chilling moments I've ever experienced in my life. And what that moment did for me was allow me to realize that this man I looked up to lost his son, his only son. And that me as a young child watching this show for the first time lost my primary father figure. So we were both missing a piece of us that mattered greatly. And that was when my connection to Iroh became something more than just me watching a show. I gained a surrogate father, and he was a fictional character. Now, the second time this episode granted me a life-altering experience was many years later. I was now an adult, and without getting into too many more details of my personal life, I was going through a very difficult experience. And I think you can fill in the blanks when I tell you I experienced this episode for the second time from the parental perspective. This new and extremely unfortunate perspective I had gained allowed me to understand Iroh and connect with him that much more. So let me just say that in many ways, whether he's a fictional character or not, Iroh means a lot to me. And he's a character that I've learned so much from, and I've been able to utilize a lot of his teachings in my life as well as pass some of those teachings down to the next generation. So thank you, Uncle Iroh. And thank you, Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, for creating a character that could become so important to me in my life, as well as an incredibly beautiful show that many people across multiple generations have grown to love. Speaking of love, I think it's important to talk about loving yourself, and I don't think anyone says it better than Uncle Iroh himself, so I'll let him tell you.
In the darkest times, hope is something you give yourself. That is the meaning of inner strength.
I'm sorry, that might not have been a great Iroh impression, but I had to do it at least once. Anyway, that wraps up Avatar Week for us. Thank you to every single person who participated. Here are all of our Avatar pieces from this week. Thank you for watching this video. I know it was a little different from normal. I don't usually get so personal and intense, but I had to for Uncle Iroh. Avatar: The Last Airbender is a beautiful show, one of the greatest of all time in my opinion, and I think there's something to learn from it and take away at every angle. I think if we could all be a little more like Avatar, Aang, and Uncle Iroh, just like they did, we can save the world.